Good enough. What is up, everybody? I've had more caffeine today, so that's a good thing. Checking in. First week of the 6-week weight loss challenge. For most of the city, we have a couple of you guys doing it too, but we just want to get back to the rhythm and routine of engaging our friends in our community. So we had quite a few good questions from Barb specifically, and then I wanted to address, I had somebody else ask something the other day. I don't remember who that was, but I want to address the question as well. And I think Emily would be more than perfect to help answer with that. So question number one, and there's a lot here, so I'm just going to read them because it is a synopsis of apparently the Bible. Question number one, I'm starting to pack protein shakes for lunch as a backup for my crazy no lunch days. Unfortunately, becoming a frequent occurrence. However, when this happens, I find myself hungry shortly after. Any recommendations to make it look a little more filling without a blender? That's an important one because that would be probably my first recommendation. Or what would you recommend instead? I've been drinking .fit pre-post. Okay, that's a great question. I'm happy to begin answering. Or if Emily, you got something quick and easy that you can help with?
Sure. So I'm wondering if is that the only thing that she's packing is just the protein shake?
Well, she works at the hospital.
Yeah.
She's on her feet. She has I think 10-hour shifts if I remember correctly. She works 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And
so I would hope that she's packing more food than just a protein shake, because protein shake can only last you so long, and of course you're going to be hungry a lot quicker. And although protein shakes are great, you need those carbs in there because that's what's going to pack heaviness on your nutrition.
And the protein she's actually taking does have a decent amount of carbohydrates in there. The only issue is the lack of fiber. Like when carbohydrates in conjunction with fiber and protein can help slow down the digestion and make you feel a little more full. Because that would have been my first recommendation is blend something up, throw a banana in, half banana in, other fruits and berries, mix that in, and .fit stuff works really great, blends really well to help give you a little bit more of satiety. However, that's not happening. Right. And I don't think you can eat, because I know I've talked with her, understaffed, a lot of hospitals are right now, so she's on the move, on the move, on the move, on the move, on the move. I love .fit pre-post. There is something called casein protein. So you have the whey, these are both milk products, whey, which is fast acting, fast digesting, and then you have casein. Two are based off of milk, but the two are digested a little differently. Casein is what's in like cottage cheese. So for a nighttime snack, for a lot of people, I make the recommendation of something like cottage cheese or a casein protein shake. They're a little slower to digest. You'll notice in a casein protein shake, it's a little thicker, but it's meant to digest a little bit slower, which means, guess what? It can kind of push those hunger pains off a little bit longer, make you feel fuller for a longer period of time. So the next time you're in the market for a protein shake, maybe take a look at something like casein. Again, meal replacements are just that. They're replacements for meals. Whole meals, real food's always the number one best thing to do. But then when you can't, then we got to work within those limitations.
Yep.
The other thing too, if you do have some time and you can have a banana with it, or even a nice fat source, right? A dollop of like almond butter, of sun butter, something like that. That can also give you a little bit more of a feeling of fullness. But my guess is in the situation that you're in, Barb, you're probably not able to actually have a meal.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, especially since she works in a hospital, that they would allow you to have more than just break foods here and there.
You know, and it's the times we're in. And again, when you're looking at something like a hospital that can be understaffed, and I'm not sure, where she works, but these are just some presumptions I'm making. But I do know that, knowing people that work in hospitals, some floors specifically are a little understaffed.
I worked in the hospital for 16 years. So, I mean, I do get it. I really do. But I do agree with you that you're saying if you do, Barb, get a chance to put some whole foods in, that's great, because you also want to make sure that your glucose levels are staying in it. You're not crashing. I guess what I'm trying to say. So trying to definitely stay away from the junk foods, because that's what's going to make you crash. If you're working all day, then by the time it hits 1 or 2 o'clock, then you get the sleepies. So yeah, the healthier that you can grab and go, hopefully you're able to do that.
And if you're able to start off your day with a nice breakfast too, maybe put a little bit more fiber in the breakfast, maybe put a little bit more of that fat source, a healthy fat source, again, a nut butter of some kind. I mean, fish for breakfast probably isn't reasonable, but but yeah, so something that will digest a little bit slower.
But people will have steak for dinner, so I'm sorry, breakfast.
I mean, I would love to have steak for breakfast.
Steak and eggs.
Yeah, I guess that's a thing, but we're not billionaires anymore.
No.
So okay, so hopefully that helped a little bit, Barb, with that first question. Second question: on those days I'm having a protein shake for breakfast and lunch, is this okay?
Yeah.
It's better than not eating. It's better than eating poorly. Is it ideal? Meal replacements are just that, a meal replacement, right? So a lot of times the intent, if you're taking pre-post, that's definitely better around workout time, or maybe a breakfast a little bit faster kick. Maybe talk with Jake if we're not going the casein route. Something like First String or even Lean MR. If you take a look at Lean MR, Barb, it does not taste as good, but it has more fiber in it, okay? So Lean MR may not have that great taste, but the higher fiber content will also, and maybe that's another recommendation as opposed to casein, because Lean MR is just right there, having something with a little bit more fiber in it will make you feel fuller longer. So maybe next time, trade out that pre-post for a casein, or ask Jake about Lean MR, because that'll go a long way too. Yeah. Not ideal, eat real food when you can. 100 times out of 100, as long as it's a healthy, balanced meal, whether it's plant-based, whether it's paleo, whatever it is, as long as it's balanced and healthy, then it's always better to eat food.
Yes, because calories in, it kind of, well, I'm sure you too, it drives me crazy when people want to be in too much of a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
I think it's okay if you're, like, for example, if I wanted someone to be on 1,800 calories, I think it would be okay if maybe they're like 100, 150 in a caloric deficit.
Sure.
But
really low.
But if they don't, if they're going more than that, then I really worry, because then they're not really getting the adequate amount of calories. So, is it okay to have a protein shake for breakfast and lunch? Yes, but you want to have those calories. Eat your calories. Yeah. Don't drink so much of it, because fluids will flush out of you a lot quicker than whole foods that can pack inside of you, and you can last longer with that.
Yeah.
Better calories, healthier calories.
So let's go really quick address that, because I had this conversation earlier with someone. They were talking about a 500, 600, 700 calorie deficit, and that's a short-sighted, short-term gain when you take such a big calorie deficit, right? Most people's metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate, how many calories you're burning at rest, lies somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 calories. What people don't understand is, let's say your basal metabolic rate is 1,500 calories. That's how many calories you burn just by being alive.
Yeah.
So when
like
you get
you can just be not even moving like this.
Lie down, don't move all day.
That's all you're burning.
And that's how many calories you're going to burn. So if, let's say, you start eating 1,500 calories a day as your benchmark, you're already going to be in a calorie deficit, right? And probably even to an extreme one, because I know for myself, in a one workout in an hour alone, I'm burning somewhere between 300 and 1,000 calories. Yeah. So that doesn't include the other, let's say, 15 hours that I'm up and about moving around, right? So 2,000 calories was put in place for a reason. It's because most people are probably burning somewhere around there. Now, people want to lose weight quick. That's awesome. But if it comes quickly, it's probably not the best for you. That's what she said. Okay, so didn't catch it. She got it. So take your time. Anytime I've talked with Emily, anytime I've worked with a client, I never recommend a calorie deficit of 500 or more. It's generally 100, 200, small, because what we can do is we can work on your portion sizes, we can work on the composition of your nutrition, and we can slowly whittle away the weight by maintaining or even building muscle. Every pound of muscle you have burns 50 calories at rest. So if we can build that machine to be more efficient, the long-term payoff will be far greater. You're going to be able to control your weight easier. You're going to be able to control your fat easier. So let's go ahead, not worry about a big caloric deficit. Tighten it up a little bit, eat maybe just a little bit more. You'll be more successful at doing that anyway. Focus on the quality of foods that you're eating first, making sure you're getting enough calories in, and then, week by week, month by month, you can make small tweaks. But anyway, I went on a rant. Yeah,
but no, it's a good rant though, because if it's 500 more calories, then you're actually losing your muscle mass then. You're working out for nothing then.
So, and that's what she says a little bit later. You notice your muscles going up. Good. So what are you doing to get that to occur? I think your workouts are on point now. It sounds like your muscles increasing. Your diet's probably doing okay. So if it's not broken, let's not fix it. But let's take a look at what's working and see if we can make a small tweak to make it work even better for you. And maybe talk with Jake about how many calories you're actually getting in. Maybe it's time to increase them a little bit. And of course, like my weakness is not during the day. I can eat perfectly healthy. I have zero cravings. I've been donuts every day at South. Doesn't worry me one bit. I get home. I'm not doing as much. I'm tired. It becomes a little easier to give in. So make sure that on those times that you are, not at work getting those protein shakes, the meals that you are able to have are mostly quality. It doesn't have to be perfect, just be mostly quality. Next question, stress eating, drinking is one of my frequent downfalls. Word, sister. Any recommendation to help curb it when stress cravings come about? Don't have it. Yeah. Don't give into it.
Willpower.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, don't have it available easily, right? Yeah. And I think that's where most people do fail. You know, and it's hard. You're a mom.
Adam had a good point today, because I was at West today, and Adam and I were talking about cravings, actually. And he said, I don't know how we got on the subject about Oreos, but he was talking about how he loves Oreos. Sure. I love Oreos. And I like to eat them because I want to tell myself, like, oh, they're vegan. I can have them. So then Adam's like, well, what I do, I will just put 2 Oreos in my bag.
Oh, he does?
Because I know if I put more than 2, he will eat more. So that's how you could also control it too.
And I believe he does that post-workout with a protein shake.
Yes.
So faster digestion carbohydrates promotes protein synthesis. He gets his fix. So he is not, it's good strategy, right? He is not, what's the word I'm looking for? He is not keeping away from himself. He's giving in a little bit, but it's a controlled giving. He's not depriving. He's not depriving himself. So maybe that's the route. However, what I would know is I still got those Oreos at home. Okay? If I know they're at home and I'm a little bit weaker in willpower because it's the end of the day, I will potentially give in. So it's just easier to not have that available to you, or have very specific days where you go out, you buy something with a purpose, but like it's a one-off, right? It's not a gallon of ice cream, it's an ice cream cone. Where you have to physically, number one, you know when you're gonna go do it, you plan it, you earn it throughout the rest of the week, and then once you have it, it's done, it's gone, it's not there to haunt you for the rest. So a couple good strategies.
Or Barb, you're kind of like me. You're like me. We're both short. What Kurt does at 6'2", he puts it way up high to where I can't find it, and it's way in the back of the cabinet, and then I forget about it. Kind of an evil thing to do, but it works.
If you're short and your significant other is tall, just have the tall person put it up there, or hide it. Sometimes
I forget about it.
I'll tell my wife, hide this from me. And if she hides it, then I don't know where it's at, so I'm not really thinking about it. Or I have to have like the shame of asking her, hey, will you go get that for me? And so maybe that's another strategy you can use. We kind of addressed your weight or your muscle gain. Yeah, I'd be happy to. I'm sure Emily would be happy to take a look anytime more about.
Well, and I think it's been a long time, Barb, since I've seen you about nutrition anyway. So I'd love to see you one-on-one. I'd love to see any of you one-on-one in regards to nutrition.
Yeah, and again, if you're personal training, she's available to you. Yeah. And Jake knows a lot about nutrition too, so I am sure any advice he's giving you is more than adequate, more than fine. So, does this challenge have a Facebook group page? We do have a Facebook group page, Barb. I got a list of everybody who's on the challenge. Normally, as we send an email out, it has a link to the page, but nobody's clicked that link. So I'm going to have to go, I have a list of everybody in the challenge. I'm going to have to go probably individually add people at some point today, tomorrow, end of the day by Friday. But yes, we do. The reason I'm doing this on our Fit Club Weight Loss Journeys page is simply because nobody joined that page, and I didn't know everybody who was on the challenge. So now that I have a list, we should be good to go. You'll get an invite soon. I think that was it from Barb.
Those are all good questions.
That was a great question. Great question. Thank you for sharing.
Yep,
all right. So the last question I had, and this kind of can piggyback off, or the last question I remember we didn't answer last week, piggyback off a little bit. Good choice of protein foods for just the average individual. And we get this a lot. And me and her have similar thoughts and a little bit of different thoughts. So for female specific, so lean meat in moderation, and your best bets are always organic as possible, as little genetically modified as possible, as free range, grass fed as possible. Does not have to be a majority of your diet. I always find it easier to focus on the quality than the quantity, but those are always obviously your chicken, your fish, your eggs, beef in moderation. I mean, again, plant-based doesn't mean no meat, just means mostly fruits, vegetables, which I agree with wholeheartedly. I think that should be a majority of everybody's diet. But those are good sources. And again, if you can err on the side of moderation with them and quality, you know, it will go a long way for you. Rice and beans.
Yep.
That combination, right? Because we have two incomplete proteins. When you put them together, they make a whole. That's a really good source of protein. In moderation, making sure your carbohydrates are not too high. That should not be everything that is your source of protein. Some nuts and seeds, another great source of protein.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we have to talk about protein shakes when in a pinch. Emily has a little bit of a harder time, I think, but I think you found ways around it. You have some vegan whey protein. And
At first it was hard, but now it's just like a part of my daily life. I just know what I can eat to throw in some protein and actually hit more than what because like I think when I was overthinking it, I was only getting about maybe 90 to barely 100 grams of protein, which was not enough.
Well,
really.
You know, honestly, Emily, though, at your size, at my size,
depending
on what your goal is.
But now that I've been lifting a little bit harder, it's crazy that how now I'm able to get like 140 to 150 a day. But also along with what I'm eating, some people think that the only time that when you can have a protein shake is after you work out, and you should only have once a day. I sometimes will have 2 or 3 shakes a day, at least 2. I definitely do. So I think it's okay to have more than one.
Yeah, and if you're an extremely active individual, I recommend it.
I'm like a chihuahua, so
if you're an extremely active individual, if you have a hard time getting your protein and nothing sounds good, and this is a better alternative than some of your other choices, I highly recommend it. If you are in a pinch, if you're in a situation where go, you literally can't take the time to sit down, and it's this, or you know, getting something from a quick fix from fast food, or you know, a sugar-laden coffee, I highly recommend it. So yeah, always watch. I mean, I think too much protein, having too unrealistic goals. I mean, for someone like myself, 200 grams of protein. Listen, I love to eat protein, lean meats, eggs, fish, chicken. I love all that stuff. I find it really hard to get that. I have to be really, really intentional, and to get that for me would be 2 to 3 shakes a day. So I always say, you know, 0.7 grams per pound generally works for me. That's somewhere around 150, 170 grams of protein. I can get that kind of organically. I don't have to worry too much about it. So yeah, understanding that more protein can be good, but it's sometimes you don't need as much as you think, right? So
you gotta don't ignore your carbs. Make sure that you're feeding yourself with carbs too. You definitely need that.
And around workout time, you do need carbohydrates to better utilize the protein. If you take like just whey protein or just straight protein, you know, protein synthesis isn't occurring. You need an insulin spike to engage protein synthesis, which can then drive the protein to your muscles for repair. If in absence of carbohydrates, that just doesn't occur as well. So, you know, there's a lot to it, but just keep it as simple as possible.
Yep. I do want to add one more thing. This question was not on the Facebook page, but somebody had asked me, like, well, what can we do about back fat? Every woman has it. It's such a struggle, right here.
It's where the bra,
where the armpit area is here, and then just that back fat. And of course, nutrition is a big deal. But then somebody was like saying, well, I try to do so much cardio in a day. Cardio is great, but you have to do weight training. I emphasize that so much, and I think that Logan and I probably talk a lot about weight training. But you need to understand that if back fat is an issue, that if you're thinking that you're just working your shoulders here, understand that you're actually also working your back. So if you're doing like overhead presses, it's not shoulders, it is back. And it also hits your lats too. So you're getting here to help with that back fat. And then I didn't even realize as much as I'm doing my squats and of course the overhead presses, that the heavier that I'm going, that I definitely am starting to slim down to where I'm starting to get that.
The V?
Yes, right. Yeah. Because because right here has always been my problem, right there. But work those back muscles. Go for it. Don't be afraid to lift a little bit heavier, just less reps.
Yep.
And that's what I do. Like sometimes I'll just only do 3 to 5 reps, and it's just helping me so much. So
absolutely. Well, I think for you too, it's a different stimulus than you're used to, so your body's responding differently,
absolutely.
right? You know, we call it exercise post-oxygen consumption. So there's that myth that you need to do cardio to burn fat. Cardio just burns calories, right? Yeah, you understand that. And unless you were doing like high intensity interval training, like today I've got to work out, I'm doing like 30-second sprints on the Airdyne bike with like 2.5 minutes of rest. It's just going to, so if I go, let's say we go for 6-mile run, okay? You're going to burn about 600 calories, give or take, maybe a little bit more if you're bigger like me, maybe a little bit less if you're petite like Emily, but in the realm of 600 calories. The second we stop doing that, we stop burning calories, all right? Other than what we normally would burn just because of your metabolic rate. When we lift weights, it's not necessarily the same exact bang for the buck while you're doing it. So maybe working out, lifting weights the same amount of time might only burn, say, 300 calories, okay? However, what will happen is, what are we doing when we're exercising, when we're weight training, especially in the, let's say, 5 to 12 rep range, is we're breaking muscle down, right? And so what happens when you break the muscle down? It needs repair. Well, how do you repair it? Well, proper nutrition, and then your body actually has to expend calories to repair the muscle. So now, not only do we burn calories during exercise, we can increase our metabolism up to 3 days, depending on what we're doing, past when we actually lifted the weights. So as far as bang for your buck goes, cardio is great for health. I recommend light cardio days for everybody. The occasional run, if you're competitive, that's one thing, but for the average person, you know, get out, do some cardio so your heart's healthy and you can, but that shouldn't be your main source of exercise. Your main source of exercise should be some kind of weight training, and that is for everybody across the board. So yeah, don't think running is going to help. And two, guess what muscle does? It can fill space, right? When you have fat, skin expands a little bit. And then when you lose fat, guess what happens to that skin? It gets flabby, right? Everybody's seen those people who lose weight, like lose a lot of weight quickly. Their skin stretches. It's not the most appealing of things. Well, if you have lost a lot of weight, if your body fat's got lower, and you still notice you have some wings, well, let's fill that shit with some muscle, man. You know? So, sorry. But it can help. But we're deep enough into this, everybody stopped watching. Who's going to get me in trouble anyway? So, yeah, I got way more than you. All right? So yeah, build some muscle. It's a good thing. 1 to 3 reps is going to really increase tendon and ligament strength, okay? 3 to 6 reps is really going to work on muscle strength, muscle density. 3 to 5 reps, 3 to 6 reps. 6 reps, 6 to like 10, 6 to 12. That's where we're going to focus, not necessarily on strength, but on muscle size. And that means we're going to near failure. Doesn't mean you're going to until you can't go. We're talking technical failure. When the rep slows down, or I have to cheat a little bit to make it look good, I don't want you to get to that point where you need to cheat. I want you to get just right before. And if you're keeping those reps under 12, then I think you're good to go in that muscle building. 12 reps plus, now we're talking about endurance. And there's some benefit to it. I mean, take a look at body pump, right? I mean, number one, not saying anything against body pump. I think it's great for the person who knows how to move well, but muscle building is not going to be necessarily what it's focused on, because your rep range is so stinking high, right? So now we're thinking more about calories. So there's a lot I said right there, but if you can take anything away, weights are as efficient, if not more efficient, when combined with the proper nutrition than cardiovascular. Don't be afraid of lifting weights. 3 times a week, full body routine. Talk with someone like Emily, talk with someone like me, talk with your trainer.
I pulled 205 yesterday.
At what body weight?
Well, whatever I weigh right now, 110.
She's not 110 pounds, 110. So that's almost double. Yeah. That's really good.
My previous PR
Did you post it online?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
My previous PR was 165, and
so
I went straight to 205
pounds, and you're working with Grayson.
In a month.
In a 45-pound PR in a month. There you go. And she's someone who's a conditioned person. Someone like her, it's a lot harder to get results like that than someone like, Sally Joe, who's never worked out a day in her life. So be very impressed with that. If you want to be like Emily, talk with her.
Actually, you know who influences me? It's those girls that when the club was shut down.
Oh yeah, your Renee. Yeah, Christine can pull like a motherfucker.
Oh my God, they're so strong.
I'm sorry.
They're so
30 minutes
strong.
Yeah, Renee's strong. Who else? Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra Seaton, right?
Yeah, and there was like Amy Martin and Amy Taylor and Stephanie.
Her name's Amy are probably pretty strong.
Yeah. I mean,
Stephanie Beneke strong.
All those girls. I'm like, I got to catch up to them. Looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, tiny and mighty. All right, guys. So we'll do this again next week. Barb, I'm going to go ahead and add everybody who joined the challenge today or tomorrow to our private page, and we're going to do this next one there. Anything you want to say before we go?
No.
Okay. Good
job.
Wait.
We both got our tags on, so we're. Mine doesn't say director though.
Mine says director, capital D.
Mine says educator.
Educator. I direct, she educates. It works out well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.